Hello, my friend. I'm glad you are here again, taking this time to pause, to breathe, to reflect. Wherever you are right now, in a quiet room, on a walk, between moments of your day, this is your space to come back to yourself. Today's question is one that reaches both outward and inward. It's a question of place, of memory, of belonging. The question is this: what does it mean to truly come home? Home is a word that means something different to everyone. For some, it is a house, a family, a town. For others, it is a sound, a smell, a language, a rhythm of the day. But beneath all of that, home is a feeling. The sense that you can stop searching for a moment. The sense that you can rest without pretending. Coming home is not always about returning to where you were born. Sometimes it is about finding your way back to yourself after being lost in the noise of the world. There's a kind of home in the places we grew up, the streets we walked as children, the familiar trees, the people who knew our names before life became complicated. But there's also a kind of home in moments we create later. The friendships that hold us, the quiet rituals that make the world gentle again, the spaces where we can breathe freely. Home changes with time. It expands, contracts, breaks, and rebuilds. Sometimes we lose it, sometimes we outgrow it, sometimes we spend years trying to return to it, only to realize that it was never a place. It was a state of being. Maybe you've felt it before, that sudden wave of belonging that comes from something small, the scent of food that reminds you of childhood, the way sunlight falls across a floor, the sound of someone's voice saying your name, the way only they can. For a moment, you feel grounded, you feel known. That's home. But home can also be complicated. There are times when the place we came from no longer fits. When we return to it, everything looks the same, but feels different, as if we've become strangers in our own story. That can be painful, but it is also part of growing. We are meant to change, and sometimes, to truly come home, we must build a new one. There's a story I once heard about a sailor who spent most of his life at sea. He said that every time he reached a new port, he thought he'd finally found his place. But after a while, restlessness would call again. One day, when he was older and ready to stop moving, he returned to the coast of his childhood. It was smaller than he remembered. The people had changed. He walked to the edge of the water and realized something. "I've been chasing home my whole life," he said, "and now I see home was never one place. It was every moment I allowed myself to belong." To truly come home means to stop running from yourself. It means to let go of the person you thought you had to be, and to accept the person you already are. We all leave home at some point. Even if we never move. We leave when we try to please others more than we listen to ourselves. We leave when we chase approval, when we bury what we feel, when we silence our own truth just to fit in. But the beautiful thing about home is that it waits for us. It never forgets the sound of our footsteps. Maybe home is not a location on a map, but a moment of recognition, when the inside of you and the outside of you finally match, when the life you live feels honest, when you stop pretending to be someone else. Think of the people who make you feel most at ease. You don't have to perform around them. You don't have to explain yourself. They don't fix you. They simply accept you. That is what home feels like. Safety without expectation. Love without effort. There's a woman I once knew who used to say that home was in her kitchen. She lived alone, but every Sunday she cooked a big meal, soup, bread, tea, as if she were feeding a crowd. When I asked her why, she said, "Because it reminds me that I'm worth coming home to." I never forgot that. Maybe part of coming home is learning how to be a place you want to return to. When we are young, home feels like something given to us. When we are older, we realize it is something we build, piece by piece, memory by memory, through the people we love and the peace we learn to create. There are also moments when home is less about comfort and more about recognition. Sometimes coming home means facing what you've avoided, the truth of who you are, the grief you haven't let yourself feel, the dreams you've been afraid to admit. To come home is to open the door to all of it, even the messy, unpolished parts, and say, "You can stay." I remember reading once that the word homecoming used to mean a return after battle. Maybe that's still true. Each of us, in our own way, fights through noise, through confusion, through fear. When we finally stop running, when we finally rest, it is an act of courage. Coming home is not retreat, it's arrival. You can find pieces of home in unexpected places, a stranger's kindness on a difficult day, the sound of rain that makes you slow down, a song that carries you back to who you were before the world told you who to be. Home can live in people, in moments, in silence. Sometimes it lives in words, or music, or faith. If you've ever been far from everything familiar, you know that strange ache, the homesickness that doesn't always point to one place. You can be surrounded by people and still feel displaced. But the opposite is also true. You can be thousands of miles away from where you were born and still feel completely at home. Because home isn't where you are, it's what you connect with. There's a line from an old traveler's diary that stayed with me. He wrote, "Home is not behind me. It is the horizon that keeps calling me forward." Maybe home isn't a point we return to. Maybe it's something we grow into. A state of inner alignment where our heart finally catches up with our life. Think about your own life. Where have you felt most at home? Was it a place, a person, a moment, a memory? Was it silence after chaos? Was it laughter after grief? Maybe it was the first time you forgave yourself for something small. Or the first time you allowed yourself to stop rushing. Home, in the truest sense, doesn't demand perfection. It welcomes imperfection. The floor may creak, the walls may carry scars, but it's real, it's lived in, and that's what makes it sacred. Sometimes the path home is long. We wander through doubt, through noise, through versions of ourselves that no longer fit. But each mistake, each lesson, each step brings us closer. We think we are lost, but we are only walking the map of our own return. There's another story I want to share. A man left his village when he was young, determined to make a name for himself. He built a career, earned respect, achieved everything he thought would make him happy, but success felt hollow. So one day, decades later, he went back. His old house was gone, replaced by new buildings. The people he'd known were older or moved away. He walked to the field where he used to play as a boy. The wind moved through the grass, just as it always had. He said he suddenly felt both sadness and peace. Sadness for the time he could never reclaim, and peace in knowing that the world kept moving even without him. That, he said, was the first time I truly felt home, not because I found it again, but because I finally stopped trying to. Coming home is not always joyful. Sometimes it's quiet, even bittersweet. But underneath that stillness is freedom. The freedom of being who you are, without needing to prove it. Maybe home is wherever you stop pretending. Maybe it's wherever you are when you finally let yourself breathe. You don't need the same walls or the same street. You don't need permission. You only need to recognize yourself again. That's all. And here's something else. Sometimes coming home means letting others in. Home is not only what shelters you, it's what you offer. It's the warmth you give, the forgiveness you share, the table you set for someone else who's tired from wandering. Every time you make space for another person to belong, you build another room in your own home. So I ask you now, quietly, what does it mean to truly come home? Perhaps it means to stop running from your own reflection. Perhaps it means to carry your past gently without letting it define you. Perhaps it means to find peace in the ordinary, the sound of your breath, the weight of your own body, the comfort of stillness. Wherever you are right now, pause for a moment. Look around you. Maybe home is already here, waiting to be noticed. You can start over as many times as you need to. You can build a new home from the ruins of an old one. You can turn regret into wisdom. You can take all that you've been and lay it down like bricks, soft, imperfect, true, until they become something steady beneath your feet. Home is not a fixed point. It's a constant becoming. Every act of honesty, every choice toward love, every moment of presence, each one brings you closer. My friend, we have traveled together through this reflection, and now it is time to return once more to the question, what does it mean to truly come home? We have seen that home is not always a place. It is not always comfort. Sometimes it is growth, sometimes it is truth, sometimes it is the long path back to peace. The lesson is simple. To come home is to remember yourself. To come home is to stand still and know that, even in uncertainty, you are already where you belong. So before you go, ask yourself, where do you feel most at home? Maybe it is in the people you love. Maybe it is in the quiet between two breaths. Maybe it is in the strength you've built from everything you've endured. Whatever it is, hold it close. Let it remind you that you can always return, no matter how far you've gone. Thank you for being here, for giving yourself this moment to reflect. Stay gentle, stay curious, and stay kind. And if this question spoke to you, continue your journey with us on Yarven's Questions. More stories, more reflections, and more quiet truths are waiting for you. Take care, my friend. Until next time.